Welcome to the Libra Love Lounge, the show where I read posts on Reddit and give them relationship advice. My name is Eliana Camargo, and let's jump into the first post. Found out that my unrequited love is actually requited. What should I do? How did you manage that? Please tell us your secrets. That sounds wonderful. Hi, I'm a 17-year-old man. Are you really a man if you're 17? Who fell in love with my male best friend. We've been friends for so many years and I developed feelings towards him. I thought I was hopeless in loving him, but I still continued doing so. It's not really a choice. It's not like you continue doing so like it was a choice. Some people think that developing feelings for someone is a choice, and I do not understand who these people are, because love sweeps you off your feet whether or not you want to have feelings for someone. They're just there for however long that they're there for. I knew he wasn't into guys, so I really felt more despair. However, just recently, November 30th, he suddenly confessed that he has feelings for me. I was once preparing for rejection, but now that my feelings are actually accepted and even returned, I really do not know what to do. I also told him it's the same for me. He confessed first, which totally shocked me as I was expecting myself to confess first. How amazing, how wonderful, this is all working out perfectly. Now that we know we love each other, I don't know what to do and I'm so confused. What happens to both of us? How do we develop our friendship into something more? What's my role now in his life, now that we've confessed to each other? This is so innocent and silly and cute. I'm like, oh my god, we have feelings for each other, what do we do about it? Should we wait for things to develop as friends, or should we go and be lovers? Y'all have been friends for years. I think now that you confessed your feelings, it's time to step it up to the next level. I asked for advice from groups of friends we have. One group of friends told me that we should set a label on our relationship, while another group of friends told me we should wait and let things develop further before setting a label. That's kind of a rush to put a label on things, but I guess it makes sense if you have been friends for years and now you're like, we have feelings for each other, that if you're both keen, you could be like, yeah, we're boyfriend and boyfriend now. But typically, when you have feelings for someone, you go on dates and you start dating them, and then the label comes later. So in this case, I feel like it could go either way since y'all have already known each other for years. So something to discuss with him, I think, not the internet. To explain to everyone this craziness over labels in my situation, a few teachers told us in school how important labels are in life and even in relationships, so that we know what we are to the person and establish clear boundaries. That's an interesting thing that your teachers are. I feel like I've had teachers have the same conversations with our class about the importance of labels, but I don't know if that necessarily, I think they're talking about the broader picture of like, in the English language, labels are helpful so that you understand things. Yeah, I would talk to your boo thing, ask him, so where do we go from here? We like each other. I would go on a date, and now that the intention is like, oh, we like each other, then, you know, start slowly doing more physical things like giving each other warmer hugs or holding hands and kissing, and just slowly let things develop from there. You know, if your intention is you're not interested in dating anyone else and you just want to see them, then let him know, like, you have no intention in dating anyone else, that you just want to exclusively see him and see if he's on the same page, that y'all are exclusively dating. Which, in my opinion, exclusively dating and being in like an official relationship are two different things. Not everyone sees it that way. I only like dating one person at a time, so I'm exclusive with everybody that I date. Having the label of being boyfriend-girlfriend or boyfriend-boyfriend in this case, it's a step up. It signifies that I intend to work towards marriage with this person, that I see myself potentially marrying them one day, and you can start posting about them on social media and meeting each other's parents. Like, it's like the next level. So whether or not you want that label right now is up to y'all, but you can have the exclusivity talk without it having to be, we're going steady talk. But y'all have known each other for years. Feel things out, take things slow, go on a date, see how things develop. This is so fun, I'm so excited for you. I wish y'all all the best. I hope that it works out. Let's see what the comments have to say. That's so exciting. It's always an amazing feeling when someone you care for so deeply ends up feeling the same. My biggest piece of advice is, if you're confused, just talk to him. Confessing feelings is a great first step, but it doesn't really establish how either of you want the relationship to change or stay the same. And actually, before that, figure out the specifics of what you want. Would you like to be his boyfriend? What would that entail? Would you go on dates, kiss, cuddle, anything like that? Once you've worked that out in your head, tell him that's what you want to do and ask what he wants to do. And recognize that it may take time, especially if this is new to one or both of you. Hell, my girlfriend and I took almost a month to get together after confessing we had feelings for each other, because she'd never dated anybody before, and it was a step she was scared to take. But we took things at the pace she needed, and it's the best relationship I've been in my life. Good luck with everything. Yep, what a beautiful predicament to be in. I love that we're starting starting off with a cute story because I have a feeling that these stories are gonna go downhill from here. So let's move on to the next post. Does a guy's height overcome physical attractiveness to women generally? Blah, blah, blah. Some women don't care, etc. I'm asking generally because I'm at a loss. I am one of those women who don't care. I don't know if he wants my opinion, but I feel like my opinion is valid if he's asking if people care, and I don't care. So dating has been incredibly difficult for me, and I'm trying to get some unbiased third-party perspective. I've never had social anxiety with women, never had issues with flirting or anything like that. Always had friends who were girls and had one long-term relationship in college. Point being, the social component isn't the issue. I've always been described as attractive and even used to always having girls crushing on me back in middle school and high school, but I've had the hardest time dating since entering adulthood. Haven't we all? Haven't we all? It's a lot easier when no one has baggage and you're just going based off of feelings and hormones, but when you become an adult, it's so much trickier. And I'm pretty sure my height is the issue. I don't know necessarily if that's the case. I mean, it could be not in your favor, but I don't think anyone's height would ever prevent them 100% from finding love, you know? I'm 5'4" on a good day, which is about the same height or shorter than most women I know. My ex was 5'4", and I love that about him because I am 5 feet tall and I like dating short guys. I said before that I don't care about a guy's height. That's not entirely true. I prefer dating short guys, and if a guy's over like 5'10", it's a bit tall for me, but I don't discriminate. I've dated plenty of guys who are above 6 feet tall. I've dated a handful of guys who are 6'4". And it's not my ideal, but if I fall in love with somebody, I fall in love with them. So end of the day, I don't care about their height, but that's someone who actually prefers shorter guys. So he just needs to find a short chick who also likes short guys, because there are many of us out there. My brother and I look alike, except he's 5'11", and he's legitimately been treated like a hunk his whole life. Meanwhile, I struggle to find anyone who shows interest in me at all. People like to say height isn't as big of a deal as social media claims it is, but I feel strongly that my experience proves the opposite. Okay, I will take back what I said before. 5'4" is very short. That's the average height for a woman. I think it definitely will weed out some women, but it's not going to completely eliminate the potential for any women. In fact, my ex, who's 5'4", all of his exes were taller than him. Friends and family don't shoot me straight, so I hope to meet strangers online will confirm or deny my suspicions. Well, it definitely can play a role, but don't underestimate the social component. Like, you're acting like you've got it all in check, but you're just perfect socially in every way. Maybe in middle school and high school, you were cool, you were the vibe, but as you get older and into adulthood, and as things get more complex and our personalities get more complex, life gets more complex, there might be other things that you need to work on. Whenever we have any kind of, I was gonna say issue, this isn't an issue. Whenever we have any kind of trait in our life that can deter potential romantic interests, it's important not to focus on the problem, but focus on the fact that it doesn't matter, you still can and will find love. Like, you have found love in the past. For example, one thing that I struggle with is I have a chronic illness. I have fibromyalgia. I sometimes have these limiting beliefs come in my head that I'm never gonna find love because I have a chronic illness and no one would want to be with someone like me. So instead of focusing on the problem, I focus on how every other woman I know that has fibromyalgia is married. And I've had previous relationships and they did not care at all. It doesn't matter if 99% of people don't want to be with me. That might be an exaggeration, but just for the sake of, well, I mean, I'm over here thinking, over here like, wait, is 99% an exaggeration? I'm like, Eliana, you can't be with 99% of, that's a lot. Where was I going with that? Even if 99% of people wouldn't want to be with me, that 1% will and does. I've got the giggles now. I need to reel this back in. It's also helpful, especially if you don't have dating experience, if you've never been in a relationship or people have rejected you because of a quality and you've never found someone that likes that quality or doesn't mind that quality. It's so helpful to look out into society and find people who have that trait that you feel like may make you less desirable, and see examples of how, oh, there's other people who have that trait and they're in relationships. And it feels that belief of like, okay, I don't have to give a shit if a bunch of people, if my dating pool is smaller because of this. Because at the end of the day, I don't need to date the people that don't want to date me. I'm gonna date the person that does want to date me. And that person exists. You just need to keep yourself open to meeting that person. And I truly believe that if you believe that you'll find that person one day and you're not worried about when it'll happen, they'll find you when you least expect it. And you can manifest that love into your life. You can get into energetic alignment with attracting that person into your life. Will being 5'4" make your dating pool smaller? Probably. Does it matter? No, because you're still gonna gonna find love. Let's see what the comments have to say. Good news, you can make up for it in other ways. Bad news, you must make up for it in other ways. I wish it were different too, however, women are very clear on this. And I'll add a short addendum. No pun intended, I'm also a shorty. You must make up for it in other ways, but sometimes it still won't matter, especially when you're dating a taller woman. And that's okay. Can't tell you how many times I got the "if only you were taller" shtick, and that's just from tall women who had the balls to explicitly admit they couldn't overcome it. That being said, exceptions do exist. In fact, my last 2 girlfriends were much taller than me, but they are just that, exceptions. Embrace radical acceptance that you have to seriously level up to do well in the dating arena, especially if you have high aspirations. Okay, this time the pun was intended. And that you will still be rejected by the majority of women, especially those on the taller side, despite that. But the good news is, those superficial women would be self-excluding themselves for you, so you could focus on the plethora of awesome women you would be able to attract because you did such an awesome job making up for it. Good luck. All right. I feel like that kind of hones in my point of focus on the fact that there are still women who will be attracted to you and care less about the shallow women who will reject you, which I don't think it's necessarily shallow. We're all allowed to have our preferences. And, you know, I can't really relate being someone who's 5 feet tall. I can't relate to being a woman who's 6 feet tall and probably wouldn't want to date a guy who's 5'4". But I do have a friend who is like 5'8", 5'9", and her now ex-husband is like 5'3", and they were married for like 2 decades. So, you know, focus on the cases where it works and worry less about the cases where it doesn't, and just focus on improving your life in all the other ways. All right, for the next post, we're gonna go to the Am I the Asshole subreddit to find some more family relationship drama rather than romantic relationship stuff, to kind of switch it up a little bit. Even though this still kind of does involve romantic relationships a little bit. Am I the asshole for making my daughter leave because my husband is attracted to her? I, 55 female, have been married to my husband and my daughter's stepdad, 63 male, for 4 years. My 23-year-old daughter and I have a complicated relationship. She has been diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder, also known as DID, formerly known as multiple personalities disorder. She has a lot of trauma from watching me and my husband's horrible marriage go down and was bullied in school. DID is a very serious disorder. It develops when you go through very severe trauma under the age of like around 6. And in order to cope, your brain kind of splits the personalities that, like, we all have kind of multiple aspects of ourselves, multiple personalities that bubble up, but they're all integrated into the one person that we are. When you have DID, in order to protect you from that trauma, the trauma will be stored in one personality, also known as an alter. That's sort of the protector alter. And then you can also have other personalities that take on different traits, as personalities do, as different alters. But there's amnesic barriers in between the personalities. So unlike normally healthy functioning human brain, where we have different sides of a personality, but we still have memories of our entire self and what we do throughout the day. When you have DID, you dissociate and completely become that personality, and all of your memories are only stored within that alter. And then when you dissociate again and switch into a different alter, those memories only exist within those. So then you have periods of time where you have amnesia, when you don't remember what your different alters were doing throughout the day. It's a very serious disorder. It only occurs when you go through very serious trauma, because that amnesic barrier protects you from remembering what that trauma was. So I highly doubt that she developed DID because she watched her parents' horrible marriage go down and being bullied in school. I mean, maybe it has something to do with that, but it probably was something really severe. Like the marriage was probably really, really bad. Continuing on, when she told me she was being bullied by peers, my view that all children are innocents really tied my hands, because I told her that if I said anything to them, I would be an adult harassing a child. What? I'm sorry, that's a wild take. She's blamed me for that ever since. Yeah, you weren't protecting your child. I don't even know what to say about that. That's just weird. And keeps referring to this one time where the kids at school called her trash due to the fact that she wasn't taking care of her hygiene due to her depression. Not all of my response was telling her to take a shower, and I bought her some new clothes. You're not addressing the root issue, which is the depression. You're like, just stop being depressed, just go take a shower. Just go take care of yourself. Not addressing about why she can't take care of herself. Again, horrible parenting. The bullying finally ended with an expulsion and a suspension for the ringleaders. So you see that they're not innocents after all, right? Like, why else? An adult at the school decided to expel and suspend them. So I don't know why you think that it would be like harassment for an adult to intervene in bullying. That's so weird. She still throws the fact that a school clinic volunteer told her that if she was their kid, she'd have permission to punch back if administrators didn't do anything. I think a lot lot of adults give that advice if someone's physically assaulting you to defend yourself. Did the mom tell her that she has to not? Like, this is just, there's a lot going on here. And the fact that your daughter keeps bringing this up shows that she still has emotional trauma about this and wants you to apologize to her, which you probably never have. You've probably brushed off the blame onto anyone but yourself. Probably. I thought that having her live with me while she finishes school and gets a job would help heal some childhood wounds if my second husband and I modeled a healthy relationship. I think a lot more needs to happen for her to heal her wounds than her to witness a healthy relationship. There's a lot more going on emotionally that needs to be addressed, especially with DID. Your DID will be cured if you see that I have a healthy marriage now. However, my daughter now doesn't get along with my husband. She's very introverted, creative person who likes immersing herself in escapism. So she'd get annoyed if she was sitting eating alone and my husband would sit across from her and eat, saying she ate later so she could eat alone. I can totally relate. My mom had a boyfriend who lived with us that I did not like the vibe of, and I liked eating alone and just being on my own. It's annoying when you just want to be alone and someone that you don't like is in your space. You're like, can I just not? But it also shows that, like, you say this is a healthy marriage. It seems she's already getting vibes that she does not like this guy. However, my husband started acting distant from me and my daughter complained that his eyes lingered for too long. She got very angry and there was a lot of shouting and slamming of doors. Finally, my husband admitted he's attracted to her and it's hard to be around her all day. That's what she said. It's hard to be around her all day. It's not to be making jokes. Said she was walking temptation and said that's why he was avoiding sex with me. Whoo! This is heavy. This is disgusting. This is vile. This is awful. I was so upset to hear this. I don't blame my daughter for this, but at the same time, the situation has become unbearable. Something would have to give, and I couldn't collect my thoughts with both of them still being in the house. So I gave my daughter money to stay at an extended stay hotel and asked her to utilize her college's emergency financial and housing resources they have for students in need. My husband's having inappropriate thoughts about you. Let me kick you out and have you go rely on financial hardship funds and go be poor in some hotel isolated somewhere else so that I could be with my husband who doesn't want to have sex with me because he's attracted to you because he's scum and does not know how to control his sexual desires and urges. Anyone who complains that someone else is a temptation and acts like it's their fault and not their own fault that they need to heal and control their sexual urges is just... She responded by storming out and telling my ex, who is now circling social media, using it to paint me as the villain of all villains, cause you are, because she should be angry about this. I'm not abandoning my daughter. Sure feels like it. I'm certain she feels like you're choosing your scum husband over having a safe home for your daughter. Like, she qualifies for those resources anyway, since my ex is unemployed and we are in substantial debt. That's not the point. I just need time to process the situation and don't want to leave my house to stay with my daughter when I have a marriage to figure out whether or not to save. Am I the asshole? Yes, you're the asshole. Which, how wild is it? You're contemplating the options being kicking your daughter out to a hotel or staying with your daughter in that hotel while your husband stays at home. Like, kick him out. Kick him out. He's essentially like cheating in a sense. Like, cheating is not the right word, but you know, like he's lusting after another woman and not having sex with you because he's lusting after that woman who also happens to be your daughter. Kick him out. Like, that's just such a no-brainer. I don't think that a man is marriage material unless he has gotten to the point in his evolution and his growth that he can control his sexual energy and his sexual urges, and instead of being a passenger in the car that's being driven by their penis, actually having the self-control to like observe their thoughts and their temptations and their urges, not be controlled by them, notice them, and not be spilling this sexual energy over that the daughter was clearly picking up on that for a long time and saying that he was giving her, how'd they phrase it? Complaining that his eyes were lingering for too long. Like, avert your eyes, don't. It's so gross being around people when their sexual energy is just like leaking out of them all the time. They don't know how to control it and harness it, and something that, you know, he needs to work through and practice and work on while not living with his wife and her daughter that he's tempted by. Like, that's just the fact that the daughter's a temptation is a him problem, not a her problem that he needs to work on before ever being in a committed relationship with somebody. Like, that's just if you can't, I don't even know how to phrase this better, but if you can't control your sexual energy and be the one in the driver's seat rather than the passenger seat, you got shit to work on. Most men in this society have shit to work on in that sense. They love to blame women for dressing too provocatively, or, you know, some cultures go to the extreme where women have to cover their entire bodies because they're a temptation. Men need to learn how to control their urges and not have their eyes linger to notice the desire and then call it back into you and being like, nope, I'm doing me, you know? I could go on and on about what I mean by calling your energy back. Topic for another time. This is awful. I feel really bad for, like, clearly I can see why this girl has DID, because her mom is not a very good mom and she's choosing a man over her daughter. Your daughter comes first. When you have kids, they, especially when like this man's not even the father of her child, when you have kids, they come first in your life. And romance, some dusty dude who is not a divine masculine, who does not know how to control his energy, should not have priority over having a safe home for your daughter. If there's a man in your home that's making your daughter feel uncomfortable, you gotta kick the man out. Have him go stay at a hotel, break up with him, whatever. It's wild that you're prioritizing him and trying to save your marriage over the health and safety and emotional well-being of your daughter. Like, that's just beyond me. That's just beyond me. So yes, you are the asshole. Fix yourself. Reprioritize shit. I feel so bad for your daughter for so many reasons. For so many reasons. At the end of the day, it's probably a good thing that she doesn't live with you anymore, because hopefully when she gets into a permanent housing situation and not a hotel, it'll be the beginning of letting her heal from all kinds of bullshit that you have put her through. Let's see what the comments have to say. You're the asshole. I have a hard time believing that her DID just came from seeing you and your ex fight. DID stems from repeated trauma before the age of 9-ish. 2, you're punishing your daughter for your husband being inappropriate. Kick him out of the house while you figure things out. Exactly. And like figuring things out, she said that she didn't want to be at the hotel with her daughter because she needs to be at home to figure out her marriage. I feel like that's a time where you need a little bit of space. Like, take a week apart and really process and think about things. With the help of a therapist would be great. But even on your own, journaling, introspecting, it's hard to do that while you're in company of this person that you're in love with and attached to. Because of course you're gonna choose staying with, well, I mean, not of course, but it makes it so much easier to choose staying with them when you're not even giving yourself the space you need to find clarity. You're the asshole. Kick the husband out who can't keep his eyes and his penis to himself. I feel so bad for that young girl. You are a terrible mother. You failed to protect her before and you're doing it again. No wonder why she has issues. What should have happened is that you sent that D-bag husband of yours packing if it's your house. Assure your daughter that you'll protect her. This is really sad, honestly. I always wonder when people post in the Am I the Asshole subreddit if reading all of these takes will actually change their opinion or not. I'm sure in some cases it might. In some cases they might be fake stories. I hope a story like this would be a fake story, but I also kind of doubt it because shit like this happens in real life. But when they go to Reddit asking if they're the asshole, how often are they actually open and willing to receive the information that yes, indeed, you are the asshole, you should change your ways and apologize? And how much they're just hoping to find the 1 or 2 comments. It's like, oh no, yeah, totally, you do you, boo. Like any person who might semi-support their decision, and then they get the validation of like, see, one person agrees with me. I don't know, but I really hope, you know, the comments are really roasting her. I hope that doesn't make the mom shut down and refuse to acknowledge what's going on, because sometimes when you call people out, it just makes them like shut down and be like, nope, blocking it out. I'm not gonna focus on it. And I hope something changes. I'm highly doubtful. So on that note, we'll move on to the last post, which will be from the love subreddit, so that we can completely shake up the vibe that's going on here, change up the energy, and focus on the positives of love, an uplifting, beautiful story, so that we feel less jaded in love and less jaded about just relationships in general, focusing on the positives. My boyfriend respects my boundaries, and it makes me fall so much more in love with him. Totally agree, by the way, just by reading the title. Whenever I'm dating someone and they respect my boundaries, I'm just like, oh my god, I just fell for you so much harder. I, female 23, experienced sexual trauma as a kid, and when I started dating my boyfriend, male 24, I told him upfront that I had trauma and that sex was something that was difficult for me. He instantly said that he was okay with that and he would support me in any way that I needed. Of course, going into the relationship, I gave him the benefit of the doubt, but I did have some worries from past relationships where my boundaries were not respected. When we started being intimate, I asked that we use condoms until I was comfortable, even though I was on birth control, and he didn't treat me any differently. I mean, that should just be bare minimum for everybody. Anytime you're having sex with anybody new, it should just be assumed that you're using condoms. condoms, and it should not be a big deal because safe sex is very important. After a few months, when I finally felt safe enough, he still checked in with me and made sure that I was okay. And if I asked him to stop, he would stop immediately, no questions asked. He doesn't pressure me into having sex with him when he's in the mood, but I'm not. And he doesn't make me feel bad about my trauma. Sometimes I wake up and feel disgusting in my own skin, but he respects my boundaries when I need space. I feel like he's too good to be true, like I'm living in some kind of dream or something. I've never met anyone like him before, and I love him to pieces. That's really sad that she thinks this is too good to be true. I know this is supposed to be an uplifting story, but this is making me sad to read for her that she's had awful experiences in the past, because 99% of the guys that I've been with are like this, and I don't have any sexual trauma. Thankfully, very grateful. It's been very rare that I've been with a guy, I don't think I've ever experienced if I say stop, that they don't immediately stop or hesitant in some way. Like, I've only been with guys who respect my boundaries when I'm saying like, no, whatever the boundary is regarding sex. And I've been with a lot of people. It's wild to me when I hear stories of people only having bad experiences, because I'm like, I've only had good experiences, and I've been with a lot of people, which is really sad. So many, I was gonna say awful guys exist, but there's also women who don't respect boundaries of men sexually. So the moral of the story is here: the first time you're having an encounter with a guy and he disrespects one of your boundaries, cut him out of your life. He's gone. Thank you, next. You're not putting up with that ever, ever, ever. The very first instance of you saying that you're not in the mood, but he's still coercing you, of you saying no during and he doesn't stop, or he kind of downplays whatever your issue is, anything in that realm, thank you, next. You can do better. You do not need that in your life. But I'm really grateful for OP that after having lots of terrible experiences in the past, that she finally found a decent human being who does the bare fucking minimum. She's appreciating that. And I hope that she doesn't fall for just the bare minimum, that you deserve so much more than the bare minimum. Like, don't stop here and be like, oh, he's perfect because he respects my boundaries. Like, no, everyone is in your life should respect your boundaries. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they're like the perfect person for you. He could be. I hope that he's amazing in all of the other ways that you need him to be amazing, and that y'all are compatible and you last forever. I don't know. The story is supposed to uplift my spirits, and instead I'm like, damn, this is sad that she's gushing about the bare minimum. So let this be a lesson for you, anyone watching this. If this isn't what you're getting, cut him the fuck out of your life, because I can tell you from experience, there's many great men out there who will respect your boundaries, whether it's intimately or in any other area of your life. That's the bare minimum, and do not accept any less. Okay, a lot of the comments are also scaring me. Sounds like you have a good one as your forever person. We don't know if this guy's her forever person based off this very small information. Looks like you've got yourself a keeper. Again, this is bare minimum. Someone says, sorry, is this an uncommon experience? Not having a go at you or your boyfriend, but one would think this would be standard. I'm obviously aware that there are people who don't do this, but it seems like a big deal to you. And OP responds, this should be the standard. That's what's really sad. I've been with other people who were not like this at all. So even OP recognizes that it's sad. This should be standard. I've had terrible experiences in the past, which colors their view on their expectations for what a good relationship is now. Oh, okay, this one's kind of cute. They say, someone else says, he's a keeper, and you know what? He's thinking the same about you. You're a keeper. I love that. I think that's cute. Those are the type of affirmations that we all need in our life, is reminding ourselves that not just how much we love the other person, but reminding ourselves of how they love us, and how, you know, feeling the love going in both directions. I don't know, it's kind of part of the self-concept that even when you're not in a relationship, knowing that your next person is going to think that you're a keeper, that they're thinking the same way about you as you're thinking about them. What you want wants you. So I just thought that was cute, because that's how my mind works. Those are the types of dialogues that live in my mind. So that was adorable. We'll end it there. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to get the tea on even more people's love lives, then you can watch another episode of the Libra Love Lounge right over here. But until next time, I'm sending you so much love. Bye.